Hello, thank you so much for joining. My name is Molly Jane Nicholas, and I'll be presenting Friendscope, our paper about supporting shared in-the-moment experiences on camera glasses via a shared camera. This work is part of a collaboration between the EECS department at UC Berkeley and Snap Research. Friendscope is a system that allows camera glasses wearers to share control of their camera so that a remotely connected friend can also trigger photos and videos on the camera glasses. The primary purpose of our system is to increase feelings of fellowship and feelings of togetherness between the camera wearer and the friend. Friendscope does this via the shared camera. Our system gives people the ability to drop in on what others are seeing on demand. Such a system, of course, raises many interesting questions about autonomy, control, privacy. As a result, we also wanted to investigate, how do people use this ability? What are the privacy implications of this ability? This paper represents a step towards understanding how the design of Friendscope would influence these experiences. Wearable interfaces such as camera glasses are becoming more and more integrated into our daily lives. Understanding user preferences and designing systems to support these needs and interests is an important challenge for HCI researchers. Research has shown that camera glasses are often used in sessions, especially during outdoor activities, such as, for example, skiing and hiking. Something else that stood out to us about this data is that in addition to these active experiences, camera glasses users also desire shared experiences. Here, we can see that 2 of the top 5 requested user scenarios are hanging out with friends or hanging out with family. The combination of the unique form factor of camera glasses, which makes them particularly suitable for use during outdoor activities, combined with this undersupported desire for shared experiences, represents a particularly unique opportunity for design. However, in addition to these advantages that are unique to camera glasses, there are also some particular challenges. For example, it's very difficult to share photos and videos. Most systems only allow uploaded photos and videos much later, after the event has ended. This is partly due to hardware limitations, which often prevent continuous streaming. For example, live streaming, and most camera glasses can overheat the device CPU as well as quickly drain the battery. To address both these opportunities and limitations, we will now introduce Friendscope. Friendscope is a system that enables camera glasses users to share their camera with their friends, allowing those friends to take photos and videos remotely. I'll now briefly describe how Friendscope works. The wearer first goes out to a location and tells their friends that they're now sharing their camera glasses through Friendscope. Now, the remotely connected friend can tap T, which creates a trigger request. The trigger request shows up as a green flashing light to catch the wearer's attention. The camera glasses wearer can then approve that trigger request. In this case, we can see that they're recording and sending back a video. Next, the friend receives that photo or video. In this case, we see them sharing a video, and the friend is able to see exactly what the camera glasses wearer was seeing right in that moment as it was shared. The friend is also able to send back other messages, including a U and a D, which activate different colored lights on the camera glasses interface. The Friendscope system gives people the ability to drop in on what others are seeing on demand. The shared camera and trigger requests both raise many interesting questions about autonomy, control, and privacy. As a result, we sought to investigate, how do people use the shared camera? What is the privacy implications of the shared camera? How does it influence the experience of control and autonomy? We classified our core research questions into 4 themes: fellowship, privacy, control, and screenlessness. This paper represents a step towards understanding how the design of Friendscope would influence these experiences. To evaluate Friendscope, we carried out an extensive user study to understand how the shared camera affects the experience for both wearers and friends, focusing on those 4 themes of fellowship, privacy, control, and seamlessness. For many more details about the user evaluation and the field study, please check out the paper. But for now, I will briefly summarize some of our core findings. In terms of togetherness, one of the things that we saw was that there was an increased sense of togetherness, even almost a feeling of embodiment that participants reported during the study. The trigger requests seemed to play a particularly large role in this. As Wearer 19 said, the trigger let you know when someone was engaged. From the friend's perspective, the trigger request recreates that connection and interaction. We were excited to see this impact of the trigger request on the overall experience. In terms of privacy, even users who self-reported as particularly concerned with privacy felt that the design of Friendscope minimized their concerns. As Wearer 8 said, In general, I don't like to share much, so all my social media is private. But with this, I felt more comfortable because it was just an experience I was having with my friend. In terms of control, because the trigger requests require a manual approval from the camera wearer, participants reported comfort with the level of shared control, and they seemed to enjoy the increased level of interaction afforded by the shared camera. From Wearer 28, the perfect blend of spontaneity and having me in control. From Friend 27, the fact that there was a request and an approval made me feel, oh, I'm interacting with my friend. In terms of screenlessness, one of the things that we were surprised to find is that many participants actually preferred not having access to a screen. The inability to preview or edit photos or videos seemed to be an advantage in some cases. As Wearer 4 said, I really liked not being able to curate the images. I really felt like I was sharing them in the moment. Friend 4 agrees. It felt very intimate. I felt like I got to know her better. On the other hand, there were some limitations. Friend 25 summarizes another feeling that some participants had. She was trying to have a conversation and I was ignoring her. This feeling seemed to come partly out of the asymmetrical interaction design of Friendscope, which is a downside of the design. I'll now summarize some of the core findings or recommendations from the future design of such systems. In terms of fellowship, we found that continuous access was an effective way to promote these feelings of togetherness. We found additionally that even very minimal interaction techniques, such as the trigger request, seemed to be able to provide feelings of immediacy and intimacy. In terms of privacy, allowing users to choose small private groups seems able to mitigate most concerns about privacy that users had. Additionally, the explicit action of approving a trigger request seems to be able to signal explicit consent. In terms of control, we used multiple complementary techniques in the design of Friendscope to support feelings of control. For example, you invite selected friends only. It's not a broadcast experience. You can switch sharing modes anytime or turn the trigger request off completely. And finally, the camera wearer can always reject a trigger request, meaning that they really had ultimate control. This seemed to strike the right balance between control and spontaneity for our participants. Lastly, in terms of screenlessness, we found that no preview actually can support the kind of spontaneous, low-stakes communication that we were hoping to support in the design of Friendscope. This may be partly because it prevents users from overly polishing or focusing on what they were sharing. This has been a presentation of Friendscope, which allowed us to explore in-the-moment experience sharing on camera glasses via a shared camera. Thank you so much.